Hello. I was waiting for one of you.
Oh, I thought Madddie was
Hey
going to
guys,
start.
sorry. Well, I think it froze a little bit on my section, so I never know if I'm gonna be frozen or not when that happens. I'm getting a new computer, so that should fix it. Anyways, welcome guys to another episode of Old Reader, New Reader. We are back, and tonight is the Patreon pick. Although technically it was 50-50, and I made the call, but anyways, the Patreon vote.
So the Patreon vote was between this or Civil War. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, it's only $1 a month to vote for Old Reader, New Reader once a month. So
That's right.
as Madddie was saying, welcome everybody. And I see a cameo of a kid and a dog in the background. I feel bad now. I only have my books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my kid's joining me because she said there's a ghost in her room. So
yeah, that's not what you want to hear with kids because everybody remember Poltergeist and Exorcist. But
yes.
So we're going to talk about Identity Crisis today. It's available in trade paperback, Comixology, Absolute Edition, hardcover edition. It's also one of the most critically acclaimed and most hated stories out of DC. And it's going to be interesting to see where all three of us... I think if you've seen me go on Omnibros a couple of years ago, we reviewed this, and I changed a few people's minds. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So if you love this story, that's awesome. This is just my thoughts on this story. Actually, it's all three of our thoughts.
Yes.
That's it. That's, you know, if you end up loving... If you love this story, that's awesome. More power to you. Not trying to shit on something you love.
Yeah, and I went in with, because I've heard people complain about this book for a long time, ever since I first got into comic books. And so I went into this with very, very, very low expectations.
Okay.
And that probably
I went into it with no expectations.
Yeah, you had no idea.
No clue what this was about. So.
Edmonton. What's up, Robert? I've been there. It's so scary to drive at night because you guys don't have the reflectors on the road. And I'm used to that, and there's no lights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, though. My wife and I had a blast up there.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I like adventure.
Driving in the dark without reflectors on the...
So, let's go ahead and get started with Identity Crisis. Really quick, I'll just set up the DC universe a little bit here. This happens right after Green Arrow came back, when Kevin Smith brought him back. It happens before Green Lantern returns, Hal Jordan. So right now, Hal Jordan is the Spectre of Vengeance, the Spirit of Vengeance. It happens before Infinite Crisis. So it actually, this and Superman Batman, the miniseries by Jeff Loeb, kind of started hinting towards the road to Infinite Crisis. So let's go ahead and get started. How this all comes about, and because each issue, you know, there's 7 issues, right? And in each issue, something happens, and we can, you know, talk a little bit about that, and then come in with our things we liked, things we didn't like, things that didn't work. So, Madddie, Amanda, which one of you two would like to start it?
I figured we'd just do an overall brief.
Yeah, let's go over it. So, I mean, when you think about the story itself, there's one main arc, right? And there's little themes.
I don't know. That's one of my biggest issues.
Well, I can't think of it as in issues.
Neither can I, not the way I read it.
So
yeah,
we'll be able to split it up for you.
Is chapter 1. So, in case you haven't read it, we talk about spoilers.
Sure, I can give you.
I don't want to spoil this for anybody in case you have not read it. So really, what happens is Sue Dibney is murdered. So it's a whodunit story. And if you don't know who Sue Dibney is, she was a character, a supporting character in the Justice League Detroit era, the Justice League International era. So think of Avengers. What's his name? The waiter. Jarvis. Think of Avengers Jarvis. Think of X-Men Stevie Hunter. So all these supporting characters that were there for these superheroes. And she also happens to be the wife of Ralph Dibney, who is the elongated man. So she is murdered while he's out on patrol. And she's murdered violently. Like, you see something happen to her, she falls over a desk, and her
Next
body...
thing you know, she's just burned alive outside.
She's burned alive. Well, we assume burned alive.
Yeah, somebody says, "Goodbye, Sue." So maybe they knew her. And I'm going to share, because the artwork in here is done by Rag Morales, right? And honestly, in here, there's some, I think, phenomenal pictures.
And there's some hit or
and
miss.
then some that just didn't work with me.
Oh, it absolutely kind of...
Yeah, it was
hit or miss throughout.
Yes, there were some great moments, and we can definitely talk about those.
So
but then there was some other stuff that was like, I'm not a fan of that.
So Sue is murdered. This is Ralph with the corpse of his wife. She was surprising him because every birthday she likes to throw a mystery out there with the help of his superhero friends.
Very adorable.
So also she was pregnant. So double
murder, man.
Right?
Yeah.
That's rough. So let's continue with what else happens while I pick out a couple.
I'll just kind of go through the synopsis. So after her murder, we kind of have the all the heroes, worried, coming together, worried about their own significant others, because to have someone that's close to them, and of course, I guess Elongated Man's identity is out, so people know who he is, and therefore know who Sue is. So people are worried about their own significant others. I
made it quick, Freddie. Freddie said YouTube's going to take it down.
Yeah,
that was quick. That was quick. That was quick, Freddie.
Before. We don't want to have it again.
That's a picture. You could have found that online. Anyway, go ahead.
So, sorry, my husband started calling me. Okay. And there's so many distractions in my room right now. And they have a funeral for her, and they start trying to decide. They start their investigation onto who killed her. Right? They all have the certain members of the Justice League have a sneaking suspicion that it is a particular villain named Dr. Light.
Yes, so it's the Inner Justice League. Seven members of the Justice League that are kind of whispering to each other. It's gotta be him. It's gotta be Dr. Light. So for some reason, Dr. Light knows they're coming after him. Him and the Calculator are working together.
Yes, the Calculator is like the bad version of the Oracle.
Okay.
Well, and they often go head to head, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, of course, he gets the help of the best assassin in the DC universe, and that is Deathstroke. So the Justice League comes in and tries to take Dr. Light down, but Deathstroke's in the way. There's a huge fight.
But before all this happens, there's a reason.
Well, now I was gonna
because that happens before they even go to try to take him out, which is where he's being protected by Deathstroke. So Green Arrow and Hawkman, they're all gathered, and the youngins, Kyle, the new Green Lantern, and
Wally West,
they overhear them talking like, who do you think it is? Because after the funeral, they pretty much start sending off the different heroes to go disperse different, guesses at who it might be, their investigative thread. But these guys stay behind because they really think it's this person, which is Dr. Light. They're like, why do you think it is? And so they decide, well, they're old enough now. Let's tell them the story. They're not young boys anymore because, they're superheroes, right? So they tell them a story about how after this battle with Dr. Light, he goes up to their headquarters in space, and Sue happens to be there. And I guess Dr. Light decides to take more than he needs and tries to rape her.
No, he rapes her. There is no try.
He rapes her. There's no try. He rapes her. They all make it back, to see what has happened. They capture him, and they vote on pretty much lobotomizing him. Not just wiping out this memory. For some reason, they just needed, because he said he would go after her again. It would not stop.
Well, and he knows.
Did this actually happened before this? Was this thing that they just brought in for the Identity Crisis?
No, this is the biggest retcon. Like,
okay,
this book is nothing but retcons. Like, there's a lot of retcons in here, and I'll explain which ones, because that's what pisses a lot of people off. So, because Sue was never in the goddamn Watchtower. If anybody fucking read Justice League back then, he was a member of the. Anyway, that is literally one of the minor problems I have with this book.
It seems like they didn't really they altered his memories, but they didn't even fully lobotomize him.
Yeah,
Well,
they tried
that's
to make him a better
that's
person. That's why he's
yeah.
goofy now, and that's the whole reason why Wally says that doesn't seem like Dr. Light I know. Well, because we lobotomized him, so we took that memory away. We also tried to make him better, which obviously never works when you do that stuff. I mean, they tried that with women when they thought they were hysterical and they lobotomized their brains back in like the early 1900s, and that didn't work. So why would it work for Dr. Light? I mean,
So
granted,
Dr. Light was always this goofy kind of character. I mean, he was he fought the Teen Titans, he fought the Justice League. He was kind of a goofball, and nobody took him seriously.
Yeah.
So the reason why, and I'm just going to show this picture. The reason why they did this was because they were like, he's horrible. He's a horrible human being. We need to change his ways, right? And there's this ridiculous picture that, right?
Yeah,
but I don't even know. What is he like? He's promising that he's going to come back and get her.
And get her again.
He knows the identity of a lot of these heroes now. So that's a legitimate reason for the Justice League to be like, okay, let's wipe his mind. And there was a 50-50 split, right? And it came down to Barry. Barry had to make the deciding vote. And Wally, Barry's now dead since Crisis on Infinite Earths. So Wally's like, no, he didn't. This is Barry Allen. He would never. And it turns out
his
that
wife only died within 6 months of that time, so of course he died.
Exactly. So they're trying to make him understand. You don't understand how it was back then. Iris had just died. We needed to do this. So they wiped his mind out, right? Like they wiped him clean, lobotomized him, and turned him into a joke.
Yep.
So that leads into a series of events of like, well, it had to be Dr. Light that came after her. But as it turns out, Dr. Light was innocent, right?
Yes.
Because Dr. Midnight and Mr. Terrific are examining the body.
Yes, they are.
The body is burnt, and that's what they thought was the cause of death. So as they're examining the body, he notices that, wait, she didn't die because, of the fire. Like, she died before, like, she had a hemorrhage. Something else happened.
Something else happened to her, yeah.
And for some reason, Bruce Wayne figures this out a few minutes later, Batman, right? So
he's a detective by nature, so there you go.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So now we have them, leaving Dr. Light alone, and we find out that he wasn't Dr. Light wasn't the only one that they wiped clean.
Well, that comes out later. That's later. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay, go ahead.
But in the meantime, during this, Jane Loring, which is Ray Palmer's now ex-wife, like they just signed their papers, like literally as all this happened. She is apparently almost hanged, and Ray comes to her rescue, and as he's praying over her body, she obviously survives from the attack. So now it looks like someone is out to get all the people close to the superheroes.
Right.
And so you have this happen at the same time, and then they bring in the big guns, because remember, all these people have like Kryptonian technology and all this, like all these different technology to keep their people safe in their homes, and yet someone's getting in there and hurting their loved ones.
Well, we're talking about, you're talking about Mr. Miracle. So you have like New Gods technology. Yes. You have technology from Thanagar.
Yes.
It's insane. So the heroes are freaking out, going, somehow somebody got in here and they found out our secrets. The next person that's targeted was Lois. So all these little things are going around like, you're next. So of course Superman's worried. He went to go and check on his parents. And he's
like, they bring the big guns in now. So now he's the one investigating. He's like, look at this knot, a Boy Scout.
Well, and Jean is important to note that she was on the phone with Ray Palmer, right? Mm-hmm. With the Atom.
Yes.
So he goes through the phone lines and gets big again to rip the rope apart and saves her. And she's like, you came. And he's like, of course I came. You're my ex-wife that took my patents.
I love you. Now we're lovers. Yeah. That took my patents.
And they're kind of getting back together, right?
Yeah, they're making amends, yes.
So
they're connecting.
All of this is Identity Crisis, I get it. But we also have this weird story about Captain Boomerang and his son. That does not fit in this at all. Other than... No, I stand by my statement. It doesn't fit here at all. So we have Captain Boomerang getting to know his son. And his son... his son has super speed powers. Yes. So he's like, who's my mom? And Captain Boomerang's like, I'm not gonna tell you that. Not yet. So the calculator is trying to find jobs for Captain Boomerang because Captain Boomerang has turned into kind of a joke. He's kind of an old dude that fought the Flash, and now his time has come and gone. And they hire him to go after Jack Drake, which is Tim's father. So Tim takes off. Tim Drake, the new Robin, takes off to go and help the superheroes. Yeah. Jack finds a box in his house and that says "Protect yourself with a gun." So he calls Oracle. Oracle's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Get Robin back here. I'm in trouble." And she's like, "Okay." That was a pretty rough scene.
Sorry, I love that quote. Oh, not that one. This one right here.
Okay. So that was a pretty rough scene, like where Tim and Batman are in the car, and he's like, "We gotta go. We gotta make it." And Batman's like, "Not again, right? Yeah. This isn't happening." So he goes after. They go back to their house, and both Captain Boomerang and Jack end up shooting and killing each other.
Yeah, because Jack gets a shot in, but not before the Boomerang gets him in the chest.
Yeah, so they make it late. Robin loses it, right? Yep. And there were some really powerful moments where Batman's like, you can't do this. You can't go in there as Robin. What if the cops are in there? So he's ripping his clothes off as he's going up the stairs to go and check on his dad when he already knows his dad is dead. Yeah. That was rough. That was a really hard part to get through.
And then this kind of propels them to go on an all-out rampage where you have scenes of different superheroes going after different villains just at trying to find who might have been the person to do this, because now everyone's worried about their own significant others.
And it's important to note too, really quick, is that during this time, DC itself, like issues of Flash, issues of JSA, were kind of dealing with this. Like the whole autopsy thing was one full issue of JSA, and it is brilliantly written. Like it is amazing. So.
And so in the meantime, while that's happening, while they're doing this, Batman's off on his own thing. His whole thing is who benefits from this? Who is the one who benefits most from all these deaths? So you have him on this side. You have Dr. Midnight actually still doing the autopsy on Sue. And when Batman goes, he has to go try to find the calculator to get his answers, because obviously the calculator either knows who hires all these people to kill these superhero significant others, and so he tries to go through the calculator. Meanwhile, Dr. Midnight realizes something's going on when he looks inside Sue's brain. When he actually opens her up, there's like little tiny footprints on her brain. So then we get a scene with Ray Palmer and his new lover / ex-wife Jane, and they're having a conversation all about they're about to get sexy time, and she mentions the note.
That's also one of the biggest cliffhangers too, because that's where that ends before you begin the final issue. You're led to believe that it's Ray Palmer that is murdering,
and you're like, why would Ray Palmer? How would he benefit from this? And then she makes a comment about the note that Jack had received with the gun, and he turns later, he's like, "What note? No one knew about that. I didn't tell you about that." And he's like, "Did you send that to him?" And thus is the big reveal. Who benefits from Sue's death and all this stuff? Well, why, Jane Laurie herself, the woman who just wants her husband back and didn't really, I guess, want to get a divorce. So let's try to scare him into coming back and being with me, which it worked. And I don't know what this is about Ray Palmer, but
bitches be crazy. Like she killed her friend. Okay, well, I'll talk about that later.
She didn't mean to kill her, but it happened because when you go inside someone's brain,
she didn't mean to kill her.
I don't know what
she brought a goddamn flamethrower with her.
The idea is she was
just in case.
You don't bring a flamethrower with you if you don't intend to kill. Oh, I got so many problems with this, but we'll get there. Go ahead.
So she's like, you have to understand, this is good for us. And of course, what does he do? He takes her to the Arkham Asylum. That's where she ends up. And it's been a week since all this happened. And everyone's kind of like shocked, like how, like, cannot believe this happened. That's when we find out that Batman was also lobotomized to a point. His memory was wiped, the whole Sue rape scene. as well. And the last thing we get is poor Ralph talking to imaginary Sue as the
No, she's a ghost,
piling up.
right?
Yeah.
The
So
ghost.
it goes because in the 52, I don't
Because
want
they
to
can
spoil it.
become ghost detectives.
Ah,
I didn't want to spoil that for people that ain't read that.
I didn't know that, but I just thought he was talking to himself because
I'm a big Ralph and Sue Dibney fan.
Okay. So,
and that's where it ends. That's where Identity Crisis ends, where people are reunited with their families. There's trust issues within the Justice League, and there. By the way, one of the best things to come out of this was the Crisis of Conscience storyline, which is was it Brad Meltzer, Alan Heinberg, and Jeff Johns wrote. It was it was kind of the consequences of what happens when you fuck with Batman's brain.
Yep.
So, okay. Before we get really deep, like what were some of the things that you all liked about this story? Madddie, we haven't heard much from you. What did you like about this? What worked for you?
There are a lot of things that I liked about. I mean, there's things I didn't like, of course, but like I said before, I went in with very, very low expectations. So I was expecting to hate it throughout, but there are moments that I really like. I love the beginning when Ralph is talking about Sue. I actually had read, I guess I had seen that excerpt of that comic kind of being circled around online on Tumblr back when people were on Tumblr. And I was like, who is this guy? This is great, because it's a great little moment where he's talking about how he and Sue got together. And he likens it to, if you're in an ice cream shop, normally people will buy vanilla or chocolate, but sometimes you have someone come in who buys butter pecan, and that's their favorite. And he talks about how, she's seen Superman and the Flash and Aquaman and Hawkman. And she's seen all these like super great superheroes that are so handsome and have, such charm and magnetism to them, right? But she's always chosen him. They're each other's. And it made me fall in love with like Ralph and Sue. I always loved that moment. And I really enjoyed, there was a panel later where Batman's kind of reliving the funerals, right? Where you see like, Batman and Alfred, and then Batman and Dick Grayson, and then Batman and Tim Drake. I really liked that panel layout. I thought that was pretty great. I thought there were some good moments. I thought there was a lot of interesting things. That being said, there's some things I definitely don't like. I think there's some unnecessary parts of the story that need to be here. I mean, there was no reason to have Sue get raped. I understand you're looking for a reason to connect. I'm sure they had a plan in place, right? But like, okay, they probably would start off like, okay, let's have them do the whole murder family thing, which in itself is a very interesting, like, murder mystery. But they're like, okay, well, we gotta tie them into something else to get them distracted. We'll get them at Dr. Light. Okay, well, why would Dr. Light go after Sue? We'll do that. like.
Rape is such an unnecessary trope that
I
resort to. Why?
I can see that.
Well,
I just feel like
it would have been the same as, like, I don't know, leaving somebody helpless. Like, what is the most horrible thing that you can do to somebody that cannot fight back? And that makes you hate that villain, right? And make you almost forget the reason why heroes are wiping the villain clean.
And I understand that. Mm-hmm. And I understand that, like, we were having these conversations now, but we weren't having as many of these conversations when Identity Crisis came out. It doesn't make it any more fun to read, especially when after that the whole conversation is, but what if he gets Black Canary? And I'm like,
she's
okay, all the women.
Yeah, like, come on.
But I knew this was coming. I'd already heard about this story, so I tried to leave that out of it. I still think it was a pointless thing to have in there.
Agreed.
But I at its core, I enjoyed the murder mystery part of it.
Yeah, me too.
I wasn't expecting that. I like that. I think a lot of the added stuff they have in there wasn't needed. I'm sure they were really trying to go with something for the whole, like, this is a dark side of the Justice League. masked, or we've like taken care of somebody's memory, and like, ooh, we've done
Well,
bad things.
it was
Like,
advertised as like this is where the DC universe starts getting dark. Like that's what this storyline was supposed to represent.
I think it was too much. I feel like I would have preferred that those two things be separate stories.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting to me.
I feel like a lot of that was in this. Like I feel like there were a lot of stories that were trying to be told that for some reason just were kind of shoehorned in. That's why I mentioned the Captain Boomerang and Captain Boomerang Jr. For some reason that didn't really fit in there with me.
Well, it fit to me because, like, when I was thinking about the book, there's a lot of themes that they're trying to present, and I think that's why it feels like it doesn't fit, but it does, because the idea of legacy is really heavy in this, because you see a lot of, it's not just their loved ones, but you see the idea of the whole, like, Batman and all of his people becoming orphans, right? All of his Robins becoming orphans, just like he was. You see that kind of legacy being passed down, unnecessarily. You see Green Arrow with his son. You see Wally and coming to terms with Barry making that decision with the whole Dr. Light lobotomy. And then, of course, you see, you get to see the Boomerang and his son. And I'm sure, I know that it doesn't make sense because he's not a hero or anything like that. But again, it still has the idea of legacy. So there's a theme there they're trying to get across. They just, I don't think, execute it well. And that's how a lot of the themes in here are. Like the idea of that good people make bad decisions. That is the core theme, I feel like, of this. All these good people, these heroes, make really bad decisions throughout this entire book. So, I mean, I guess that's pretty well done, I guess. Because they make pretty bad decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say before we get to our thoughts, because I think there's a lot of things that we need to talk about how bad some of the things are. There are a lot of things that are wrong with this book. I can forgive every single one of them. But there's one thing that I refuse to believe. And I'll talk about that last.
Okay.
There's this issue that I have with the Calculator being outsmarting Batman. That one always ticked me off. Like, what? The Calculator? That guy? Then there's the issue with Deathstroke. Deathstroke himself, like, taking out
all of them?
Like, Wally is too smart to run up on a sword, dude. And I love Deathstroke. And that scene is actually drawn really damn well. Like, Rex Morales through here is hit and miss.
Like, were they trying to what were they trying to show with Deathstroke? That he could outwit them all?
No, it was used as a catalyst, like a flashback, right? Because when they went for him is when Dr. Light sees, and he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, they're positioned exactly like they were with me." Coincidentally,
it does feel silly both times, because I'm like, in what world do you need all of the Justice League doing this weird pile on?
Dude, that like right here, this panel right here, where he's like, in the Justice League, they teach us how to fight. I was like, what? Whatever. Like a bunch of Boy Scouts? Like you're dogpiling on the character. This is Deathstroke. Nightwing took Deathstroke out.
By himself. Like, what did he
yeah.
Like, come on. That was Ollie's, right? Like, and they're all like dogpiling, putting, like, hitting him upside the head, biting him. Dude, it's weird because I find a lot of the writing, like you said, Madddie, like it was, I really went into this, and it's hard to kind of grade this because I enjoyed a lot of the writing. I love the whodunit aspects of it.
It's hard, right? Because there's some very good bits, and then there's some not so much. So I left it being surprised. Like, okay, well, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
It's like the dialogue. There's some good dialogue, but then there's just the actual writing of the plot not so hot.
He uses 90% of his brain. Like that's honestly, I can even let that slide. Okay, sure, Deathstroke is super fucking strong. He can take out the entire Justice League. Awesome. Keep going, Brad Meltzer. The other big issue, of course, is we go back to the whole Gene Loring thing. Like what? Why would you? Have you tried talking to him first?
Crazy old lady just going crazy, doing stupid stuff. How crazy can she get? Those women, us women, can't keep our emotions in check.
Okay, you don't got a damn flamethrower with you everywhere you go.
Did she have any inclination like that?
No.
Before this?
So it just
no. This literally, the way I describe it, the people that have never read Justice League, it's like, well, before Moira, I don't want to spoil that, but let's say Stevie Hunter and another X-Men human character, like just acting completely out of character, like, or Jarvis and Pepper Pot doing something similar, like Jarvis killing Pepper Pot. Like, what? Why? Because you want to get back? Okay, but I mean, it's so odd. And Sue, who just gets destroyed, like her character, like all those years that I enjoyed JLI,
and that is a good example of kind of like.
Well, I mean, that's what it was.
That's what it is. Refrigerator, like woman of refrigerator. That's what.
Well, I don't even want to say that's the case here, because honestly, I mean, we got rid of Tim Drake's dad, right? I mean, he's not. I mean, same thing.
He was the catalyst, and it was kind
okay.
of
What started it off?
If there wasn't the rape thing, I'd be like, okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
There's rape, and then she's killed.
Good point.
Like, all right.
Yeah, Tim Drake's dad was just. He even got to defend himself. At least he got to fight. Yeah. He got the bad guy. She couldn't even get the bad guy both times.
I hate.
Killed Captain Boomerang.
I hated the fact that they had to kill off his dad, because Tim was the unique Batman character that had, well, at one time had both of his parents alive, and then he loses his dad, and that puts him in the same category that Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Bruce Wayne are in. And don't get me wrong, that image, holy shit, that image of Bruce holding him, I'll show it here in a second.
That's one of my favorite images, I think.
Like, that is a powerful image. Mm-hmm. When, like I said, he had to take off, his clothes and run in the room, because Batman's like, you can't go in there, the cops are in there, and man, that was rough.
It's even more devastating than him recruiting Dick Grayson, because that happens after his parents' death. This is something, this is your protege who has a healthy family, who has a dad that loves and supports him, and you failed again.
Yeah, you guess
this is someone who's like a second you, and you failed him, and you didn't save his dad.
Yeah,
and now he's just like you.
I do love that.
That seems very powerful.
I honestly, like, I don't want to say enjoyed, but I thought that was a very interesting look. I thought it was very powerful and very moving.
Agreed.
So it's very difficult for me, like, to rate this book sometimes, because there were a lot of things that I enjoyed, but the other things were kind of silly. Like, Jean Loring she's not smarter than Mr. Terrific or Dr. Midnight or Batman. Come on, really?
Yeah, I was a little. I was like, really?
She
all of them?
Fooled all these people.
For that long?
And exactly, how did you know how long Elongated Man was going to be gone from the time that you started this whole thing? Like,
yeah, and I didn't understand why she kept going. That didn't make sense to me. Like, the first time you mess up, okay, but she was like,
now I got to do myself. Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And they drop her at Arkham Asylum. That was so rough. I'm like, wait, shouldn't you, like, I don't know, she get prosecuted first? Like, okay, let's say it's months later. She doesn't live in Gotham. Like, she doesn't live near there. And why would you put her somewhere where Two-Face and Joker and Poison Ivy are? She's not a supervillain. She's just a really messed up lady.
Woman, yeah.
Lawyers are smarter than Batman. Where is Dan so he could hear that?
Yes, where is Dan so he could hear that? Yeah,
now,
very interesting.
All of that, to me, is completely forgivable.
I don't know about that.
There's one thing that I did not like about this story, and the one thing that destroys this story for me. So they lobotomize a supervillain, right? They're like, this didn't happen. They talk about it amongst themselves. This didn't happen. But to tell the rape victim that this didn't happen, I refuse to fucking believe that superheroes would ever do that. Like, Barry Allen, fuck you. No way. Never. Yeah, not in this universe, not in any universe. That means that you are denying the fact that this happened to somebody, and that pissed me off so much.
Did they say that they explicitly said, I assume she would have to deny it or pretend it didn't happen for the sake of everyone involved, mainly because of Batman.
Well, it's never brought up.
It's never brought
up. That's the thing. It's
and that's
the rape is at the beginning. It's used as a plot device, like you all said earlier, and then they never talk about it again. There's never like,
and I guess
good thing she went to counseling, right?
Yeah. They never, and someone brought up in the chat, but we never hear Sue's side of any of this.
Never.
No.
Like I
You
said.
don't.
And this is something that's happening to her, and not one moment do we really get like what her reaction, that her giving her approval to them making that decision.
Well,
Yeah,
it's not up to
because
them.
We see
she's
her
already
through everyone else's eyes, including like in the beginning through Elongated Man's eyes, and we see her again through Green Arrow's eyes and what happened, and we never see her side of the story. Right?
So that's the one unforgivable thing that I cannot let this story like slide by. You can't like I said, I can forgive everything else and forget the fact that yeah, sure, none of that fits into continuity, but that part always bothered me. And because these are characters that people look up to. These are characters that I loved.
Yeah. I mean, you can go dark, but that was kind of there's a better way to tell that story than how the execution of this one. There's a better way to do it.
And so, yeah, when y'all were saying, like, she was already dead when the flashback happened, and it wasn't like it actually happened, right? It wasn't like it happened in the stories. It wasn't a flashback to something that happened previously in Justice League International or anything like that. This was written here
for this particular yes.
And these mistakes tend to happen when people are going dark or getting gritty. It's like they're so focused on doing something like that they don't take time to really put together a good story.
Yes.
You can be dark. You can show the difficulty of being a superhero and the difficult choices you make and like how you mess up, but do it in a way that's not like messy like this.
Yeah. And not at the cost of another character's integrity or pride, especially
or character development.
Yeah. Especially a character that has no real like ability to tell their own story, which is Sue, basically.
Yeah.
No way, like
there are stories that you read and that just because you hold a lot of these characters near and dear to your heart sometimes. So I mean, that was my favorite era of Justice League. So for this, it was like a weird reunion of these characters that obviously Brad Meltzer didn't care about, and honestly probably most people reading DC at the time didn't really care about. So of course they're going to use them just as a plot device.
It's silly.
But I don't know. It was a really weird read, and I've read this I think 3 times. This is my 3rd time reading it.
Oh my!
There were some people in the chat asking how how you feel about this, how we feel about this compared to like a similar unloved Crisis, quote unquote, Heroes in Crisis, which also suffered from poor character choices and writing.
It's hard because I always think of this and Heroes in Crisis. Heroes in Crisis still like it's another shitty thing they did to the Flash, right? Like it was so out of character.
It's a ruining of characters and like how they actually are for the sake of the story you want to tell.
Yeah.
Like you could have chosen a character that would better suit that for this and not like ignore actual characterization of beloved characters.
It's really strange that this is the book that they kind of used to, build the DC universe up until Infinite Crisis with this there, because there are things that I think I did enjoy about this, like Batman's like the whole he hears what he wants to. I was like, shit, exactly. Batman knows. You fools done messed up. Or Superman, that was it. When Superman's nearby, they were like, yeah, he hears what he wants to. So weird.
I don't believe that for a second. That doesn't make
agreed.
Sense. Everyone else making a mistake, Justice League members. Okay, but like Batman and Superman?
Yeah, those
not like
two?
that.
Yeah, I just can't see that.
Man, you're lucky. My girl, Wonder Woman wasn't there. She would have.
Yeah, I wonder where the heck she was this whole time.
She was in the funeral, and then she had that scene with.
She had
at the prison.
Yes,
where she went
Slipknot, right?
Yeah.
She used the lasso on him. Yeah.
What a silly thing. That knot would only be used by this one person. Comics are dumb.
Yeah. And like, no one else ever used.
But the good thing about that issue or the best thing, is that we got this cover out of it. So Michael Turner supplied all the
Yeah, that's
covers for this.
It was a nice cover.
Always love that cover. What would you all give this out of 10? Like I said, and for anybody that has read this and loved this, I'm not shitting on your favorite story. This is just my opinion.
Yes.
What would you all give this out of 10?
Real quick, there were a couple comments in the chat saying that Tom King had actually, his goal was to emulate this series of making Heroes in Crisis.
Really?
Which explains so much more to me.
Huh.
My forever villain origin story. Anyways, we can continue.
Oh, we giving it a rating?
Sure, rate it out of 10. Because, I mean, well, I think about this, right? There are things that I enjoyed about it. Some of the art is good. It's hit and miss, but
yeah,
there are things
as a DC fan, I still... It's hard because there's some very good parts that I want people to read.
But I just am so disappointed with what.
I didn't know this was going to be the hardest part of the show. That's hilarious.
I'm just disappointed with Brad's choices on what he chose to do, and
his Justice League run was actually pretty fun. I kind of dug his.
How are the women in his Justice League? I'm just curious. How are the women in his Justice League run? Because I'm just getting
same as the men. Wonder Woman, Black Canary, they're awesome. I dug his Justice League run.
I have to give it.
I can go first if you ladies want to.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
You give it first.
I think I'm split, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because there's part of me that really enjoys it. Part of me enjoys the art, but even the art is hit and miss at some points. And I thought a 5 out of 10 is really high for me for this book because I hate this book. But I can't deny the fact that I was actually sucked in again with Ollie's narration, the murder mystery, and there are fun things, there's some good things that did come out of this.
Yeah.
So
there's some fair.
That's just my.
And that's kind of what I was leaning to. Just because I'm so down the middle.
Yeah, that's how I've been.
I'll say 5.
Okay.
I'll give it a 5 as well.
Wow. 5 out of 10. Can you imagine if this was X-Men? I would have burnt this book. You can't do that to my more, I guess, whatever they would have used.
Who would they have used as their Sue Dibney in that story?
If we didn't have that wonderful Ralph and Sue like flashback moment at the beginning, I probably wouldn't rate it as high.
I think he's a damn good writer.
I
just think the plot
moments, and I probably would have given it lower.
I think the plot.
I love Elongated Man. I'm a huge fan.
4.99. Love you, Larry. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
What's
also,
up, Peter?
Everyone should check out Elongated Man, The Flash. He's so sweet.
I actually like the story, but I read it many years after initial release. My DC knowledge was fairly limited. I thought it was just a good whodunit. Go back and read it, Peter. I'd love to know. And thank you so much for watching. It's got to be late in Australia, brother.
Yeah. Ooh. Is it, Jordan, is it your birthday today? Happy birthday, Jordan.
Yesterday was his birthday.
Happy birthday. Belated.
Belated birthday, man.
Belated birthday.
Agreed. I would
this
still...
Heroes in Crisis is, wanna stop
I would love for Heroes in Crisis not to exist, but...
See, and I was, honestly, I was like that with Heroes in Crisis because the artwork...
Read that.
The artwork is so beautiful.
It is beautiful. That's the devastating thing.
And part of it is actually really enjoyable. It's just maybe it's the plot or the execution. I don't know. But this one, woo!
Man. But at least I got to see Roy Harper in both. You know?
Yeah.
He didn't die in this one, so.
No, he didn't do much, but that was okay.
But I got to see him at the funeral, and I was like, there he is.
Well, and he got mentioned. There was a name thrown.
Yeah.
He might be better than Roy. There's no way he's better than me at archery. When he's talking about Merlin. Was he talking about Merlin, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read whatever the redemption story arc is for Wally, the Flash Forward, I think, or something like that, after Heroes in Crisis.
I've read one issue. I think I might just watch Comic Historian's video on it and then decide if I want to, actually read it.
Oh my god, this was an awesome. I wish mainstream comics like this one keeps getting darker. Michael Turner covers were amazing. So yeah, there's people that really like this story. Omar and Amanda, tomorrow is a big night in the review Catwoman.
Yep.
we watched it.
We just watched it today.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm talking to Eric Larson at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm really excited about that conversation. And and then at 8:00 we're doing Catwoman.
Yep. Ooh, I like Louise says, "Hey Omar, how does it feel to know that Madddie and Amanda gave Identity Crisis almost the same score as Dark?"
I do like this more than Dark Phoenix.
I still like this more than Dark Phoenix.
No,
yeah.
I
Yes.
do.
Oh my god, yes.
I would read this
movies.
again before I ever read Dark Phoenix Saga.
nope, can't handle that.
I run
Not
the
that-
channel too.
Damn it!
I have admin rights.
Yeah.
Ah, shit! I should have seen that coming.
Okay, so
Ouch!
I'm glad to hear that you like Flash Forward. I was interested in reading it. Of course, I picked up the issue that has Roy in it and on the cover, which, doesn't have a good fate in that one either because I don't deserve to be happy. But I do want to read the rest of it.
I'd rather watch a live action.
Hey, live action Mulan comes out in July.
Yeah,
so
same.
get ready.
What?
Live action Mulan comes out in July.
That's crazy. Maddie, have you seen The Phantom? Did you ever watch that?
Billy
No.
Zane.
This was pretty fun, man. A lot more fun than Catwoman was.
Don't give your review yet. I've got a soundtrack for our entire review tomorrow.
Are you guys gonna watch Mystery Men? Because I watched that recently.
My gosh, I haven't seen Mystery Forever.
It still holds up.
I
Just
like
like
that
how-
movie.
All-Star playing in the background the entire time.
It's pretty.
I remember the trailer having nothing but All-Star playing the entire time.
As it should.
All over MTV TRL when I was watching it, that Mystery Men, because that song was popular and I was watching a lot of TRL back then.
Yeah.
Bomb.
So yeah, what's everybody up to tonight? Did you read Identity
Oh, did
Crisis?
you guys see that Ruby Rose left? You did.
I
You said-
Yeah, I
that.
saw.
Yeah.
I
Did they
can't
say why?
No, it was a very mutual decision. So I can't decide if she got fired or if she decided she wanted to leave.
Yeah, they've already. I think they already recast, or they're gonna recast her.
They're trying to recast.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I think she's. I don't know. I saw one episode and she wasn't the best thing in Orange is the New Black. She's really, really pretty, but her acting was just. I don't know. Yeah, and it didn't seem like she improved that much for Batwoman. But that's basing it on just one episode, the Crisis episode. I didn't see the whole season.
I didn't see enough of her to.
I will.
I know
say that
people really
pretty
hated
much
her.
All CW superhero shows, with the exception of Arrow, don't really land that first season.
Mm.
No.
I like Flash. Season 1. I thought Flash
Yeah.
was pretty good.
But Legends, skip that. Supergirl is not great for the first half of the season.
She got some serious injuries with some of the stunts, so I get it if she quit.
Well, that makes
That's right.
sense.
She broke her neck or something.
Yeah.
And I could see her wanting to move on to something different. I mean, she's always been more of I
More.
don't know.
Yeah.
Ghost
A
World is
different type of action.
excellent. Comic is great too.
And with CW, there's always a limit to kind of roles, and especially a character like Batwoman, you can't really go too far with it. So.
She got death threats. That's just getting silly.
I'm not surprised because the minute that got announced,
Oh yeah.
I had to have some very dumb conversations with people on the internet. I was like, "Oh, is it cool? She's gay. She's playing a gay woman." They're like,
What?
Does it matter?" Like, shut up, God.
I know.
They did, man. Greg
I can-
Ruckus run
I
on
can
that
still be
book.
excited about it.
Yeah, you can still be excited about it.
Omar, when we getting that Chuck Dixon Nightwing Omni? Man, I don't know, dude. I can't even get DC to reply back to, hey, can I have the rest of the schedule for the rest of the year? So, I don't know. See, Omar, you got another buyer for Avengers The Crossing. I know, you guys are crazy. I literally said that this book isn't that great, and people are buying that book, but more power to you all. I thought the audience warmed up to her. Is what Mr. Awesome is saying. Mr. Awesome, I know you didn't. We were doing a live chat, or maybe it's in my head. I can't keep up with if it's a live chat or a real conversation anymore. We were talking about Becky Lynch being in the MCU. Who would you see her as? Because I'm actually just talking to this guy. I was thinking of Thundra, like in the She-Hulk TV series. I think she kind of looks the part.
Didn't we have that conversation already?
I was drinking. Was I drinking?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, that was the problem. Let me know, Mr. Awesome, who you would kill. Who would you all cast as Becky Lynch as?
Are you talking about the girl
Red
in
Tanya.
Well, at the MCU. Oh, that's a good one. Elsa Bloodstone.
She was in the Marvel universe at some point.
She was.
Just where she got her start.
Cool.
It counts.
She'd be really cool, especially. Yes, she'd be cool.
Alison Brie for Jen Walters. I know a lot of people are pushing for that. Or just trying to cast that.
I love
People just say they want an Alison Brie type.
They said they wanted an Alison Brie type, but they never asked her to audition. But in the casting call, it said looking for an Alison Brie type.
That's hilarious. I look
like,
man.
I am Alison Brie. Should I try out for
I want a built girl. Like I understand, but like.
She you should see her.
But like She-Hulk is built even when she's not like super hulked out.
Yeah.
Give me some muscular women on movies. They did well with The Mandalorian. Let's keep it going.
They got to find one.
I see who you want. You want your girl from The Mandalorian. I do too, because I think she's fine.
She could do anything.
Yeah, totally. And she's gotten a lot better because when she was in, what was it, the Fast and the Furious movies? Oh my goodness. And she was in Deadpool. Deadpool 1.
I accept.
Yep, she can be.
She can be.
I don't have muscles. I'm thick, but I don't have muscles. Well, they're hidden under the thickness.
Okay. I remember when you all said Alison Brie type, it reminded me of, I watched this Danny Trejo documentary, and he was talking about getting casting calls and stuff, and he went in for an audition, and they said no. And he says, but it says here you're looking for a Danny Trejo type. I am Danny Trejo.
And what they say,
And
no,
said,
okay, maybe we don't want one then.
He was like, but I'm Danny Trejo.
Poor guy. I wonder if it's because Omar Reyes talking about her.
Gina Carano.
Man, I am so in love with her.
Yeah, she did pretty good on Mandalorian. And
Rosario
Dawson is the one they casted for Ahsoka, right? Or whatever her name is from.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I know Hayden's not happy about that. Or is happy? I can't remember, but.
I mean, I'm fine with it. She looks like she'd be good for the role. A lot of people wanted her for.
Everyone cast her for every like alien, like.
You've been
an alien.
Yeah, you've been alien.
Yeah.
Omar, I didn't like the Jane Foster run, then watched your stream, went back and read it again, and actually grew on me. Yeah, man, it's got some wonderful moments.
I will say that and I've said this before, but like when I read it on its own, I didn't like it at first. Like I only read the first maybe trade. And when I went back and read, I started with Thor before that, leading up to it. It completely changed how I felt about it. By the end, I was like completely team Jane Foster Thor forever.
So, Shonda Swick said Gina really improved her acting wise. I don't think her role in Mandalorian demanded much, but I'm curious what her range is.
If she could do something like standalone would be the case.
Yeah, she probably would do She-Hulk very well. I feel like you need a different type of actress.
Oh yeah.
Actresses can beef up. Like I think people don't always think like, okay, with like MCU movies. I mean, look at Kumail Nanjiani. You're like, we're gonna beef him up.
Oh, look at him.
Like, why aren't we looking at like actresses and doing the same?
That's why Alison Brie might feel bulk up. She could bulk up.
True.
She starts eating a lot of chicken, and she's already like she's fit. Like you watch her Instagram videos, she is like pulling it up, and she's going.
I've watched videos of Alison Brie eating.
I love her to death. So much.
Oh, yeah, she's wonderful.
Oh man, Mr. Awesome, I disagree.
What he said.
And I have a lot of pictures and figures in my other room that I could show.
You believe? Yes.
Well, I think in the comic books, like in the 80s when she was revamped, because even in the 70s and early 80s, like, we had Linda Hamilton? Linda Hamilton?
No.
Is that right?
Are you talking about from Terminator?
Linda Blair. Linda Hamilton.
But I think a lot of people confuse like bodybuilder, like men and women type. There's a lot of different versions of being like muscular
And
being
fit, yeah.
yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared of showing like real, like significant aesthetic muscle on
Yeah.
women. But it can be done in a very good way. Usually people
Carter,
think
God
bodybuilder
damn
women,
it.
they think the super
Carter,
tan,
Linda Carter. Thank you all.
Everyone's freaking out. Linda Carter.
Yeah, Linda Carter, not Linda Hamilton.
Blair?
Linda Blair's the
From
Exorcist.
Exorcist. Oh my gosh. Woo,
Sorry,
big
y'all
Linda,
y'all
guys.
could deduct 3 NMC points from me.
Too many. My daughter wants to join. Too many. Linda's up to this beast. Ooh, someone said Betty Gilpin from Glow, which
Yeah.
I loved her. If you guys haven't seen The Hunt,
Was she good in that?
Oh yeah.
oh man, she was badass. Badass in The Hunt. Oh, she was amazing.
If I
She's
could
pretty
have
badass
Lucy
in-
Lawless,
Oh God, I would love.
she could do it now. Even she looked really great
Yes.
in Parks and Rec.
She
But
does.
man, Xena, to me, that's like the epitome.
Yes.
It's like that's what I want.
Xena's my woman. She
Yeah.
can still do it. She's still
Man,
got it.
she showed up in Parks and Rec, and I forgot she was in it, and I was like, she spoke. I was like, oh,
I know. I love that her.
She was
Ryan
in
together.
She was in Evil Dead, the TV series.
yeah,
The first
That's right,
3
she was.
seasons.
so beautiful.
I haven't seen The Hunt yet.
You should watch it. I think it's her and Hilary
She-
Swank
she
have
looks-
a pretty badass fight. And
She
I
looks
get it.
really angry all the time in Glow. I mean, she has every right to be in her character.
Yeah,
No, I mean she has some good. She's a really good actress. I mean how she has to do the different roles she puts on within
Oh
Glow.
yeah,
oh yeah.
Fabulous. Oh, I can't wait for that to come out. When's that come out? Soon,
season
right?
3.
Season 3 should be coming out
I need
soon.
to catch up. I'm still.
I don't know.
Oh God, the last season it hurt me so much. I mean, I know it follows the real life of what happened to Glow, so I kind of know where it's heading, and it's not a great thing. Obviously, if you read up on the history of Glow, but gosh, you just want these women to be successful. You just want them to succeed.
But
They're
it
just so
it
good.
doesn't
at their
it doesn't
job.
have to end that way because this is all
It's all fiction. It's
fictional
it's
history,
fiction.
right, or whatever it's called.
Yes.
The new show on Have y'all seen Update?
Upload.
Update.
No,
Oh.
It's upload.
Oh, it's
But
Upload.
yeah, I've seen
Okay.
it. It's really good.
I haven't watched it yet.
So
I
the Parks
really-
and Rec people?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, one of those shows is the Parks and Rec people.
It's not the Space Force show, is it?
Oh, I really
think
liked
so.
it.
So Upload. Kyle said it's Upload.
Yeah, watch that and also watch The Great on Hulu, please. Thank you.
Oh, I did. I started watching The Great. Oh,
Ellie and
Nicholas-
I marathoned it.
I haven't
It's
finished
so
it yet.
good.
But Nicholas Holt as the Emperor. Oh
He's
my
so good.
God, he's so good at being
It's
like
ridiculous how
complete
good that show is.
That's the
I
one with one of the sisters, the Dakota Fanning
Yeah.
sisters.
plays Catherine the Great, and
That's what I thought.
I
I haven't seen it yet.
It's really good. It's very funny.
Yeah, it is. You wouldn't expect the humor is. Yeah.
There's
I love
there's
it.
so many good lines that I won't repeat on air, but there's some really good ones.
We're just catching up on Anne with an E season 3, which we waited because we know it's the final
Jess
season.
recommended that to me this weekend.
What a beautiful final
I
season.
love that. I
It gave
love
me exactly
shows
what
like
I
that.
wanted, and I hate it that it's over because I want more, but it gave me just what I wanted right at the end. It made me so happy. I
One of
just
the-
finished Freak too, which was fabulous, and I cried at that season, the series finale. I
When
love
the Glow wrestlers became Ivory. So I used to watch Glow with my brothers every Saturday morning, or my brother Manuel. We used to watch it every Saturday morning. We loved that stuff. And then I watched the documentary a couple of years
Oh,
ago,
the documentaries. Oh,
which
I
is
cried.
heartbreaking because, like, Mount Fuji, I don't know if y'all, for
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
that's old enough to remember Glow, Mount Fuji got, like, seriously hurt. Like, her back was damaged. And they all got together at the end in this nice little... But I like watching stuff like that.
Yeah.
So good.
Tina Ferrari became
Oh, that's
Ivory.
Mm.
I am, man. Separated at birth. That series had a budget and did a faithful adaptation. What video? Oh, if a series had a budget and did a faithful
Monster.
adaptation, what video game, anime, comic book would you like to see get at? What did you say, Maddie?
Monster.
Yeah.
Ooh, I read Pluto, Omar.
Pluto, not the Jeff Lemire series. No, that's Plutonia. Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh
Urasawa.
my god, I read it all on Sunday.
So good. But I'm an Astro Boy fanboy, so that's why it's my favorite. Battle Chasers. Battle Chasers, I'd like to see an anime. I love that series.
Most of the ones I want to see are most likely coming or are in production right now. No,
Old Guard. We're getting Old Guard? I didn't even know we were getting an Old Guard series. You are hallucinating, Michael, again.
Yes, there is no child on my lap.
Dark Phoenix Saga.
At this point, I'm just think they just can't do it, so let's just not try to adapt.
They can do it.
Right. Even
No, I feel like-
Evolution ended before the Dark Phoenix Saga could happen.
Yeah.
They did it in the 90s cartoon, and
Yeah.
it was okay. Megan Fox. Where is
You know
Jack
what?
Pearce?
She's
Megan
got
Fox for
I would
Supergirl?
say sure. I think she's a lot more range than people give her credit for.
I haven't seen her in anything. Like, what have you seen her in? I
Is it
remember.
Jennifer's Body?
I love Jennifer's Body.
I've heard that might be one of those that would, if you're going to talk about range, it'd be one.
Yeah.
That's a Twilight Lady book movie.
No,
Thing?
No.
Oh, never mind.
Stephanie Myers is the host, is what you're thinking of, and
The host. Thank you.
yeah,
I'm glad
but
I'm with
I
smart
like
people.
the book, but I did not like the adaptation.
I had no idea that she was still acting either.
No, she just got divorced from Brian.
Shout out to Great Garloo because Beastars is 10 out of 10. So good. Sorry.
Paul Baker said, I've been watching Smallville for the first time. Man, I hate all the other DC CW shows, but this is my shit.
Yeah, Smallville. Yeah.
Say it again. Legends of Tomorrow. Just get the first season.
You've been preaching that for a long time now.
I will continue.
That's
this
right,
last
she was in the
episode, They
TNT
all had to
movies.
infiltrate Greek life and make their own sorority, and it was a teen movie, and it was fantastic.
Megan Fox awakened things in me back then. Jennifer's Body. Whew.
Many people.
I remember we were watching Transformers 2, and my wife leaned over to me when in the theater when she's on that bike, and she was like, God bless, she's hot. And I was like, what? I haven't noticed. Who? Do you mean... God, man, that scene.
Strap.
It's a trap. I knew better. Transformers had a great plot. Jesse, what's happening? What's going on with you, man? No, I didn't.
Do today.
Everyone's been telling me to watch Bumblebee. I heard that was good.
That was
It
cute.
was.
I liked it.
Cute.
The first 10 minutes is amazing.
It didn't get the love at the box office, so whether or not it'll get more is going to be a different.
What's up, Project Viking?
Hey, Project
How's my boy
Viking.
doing? Thank you for dropping in, man.
Someone had mentioned up above about Sweet Tooth getting
Yeah.
adapted. Robert Downey Jr.
I know
producing
what you
it,
mean.
so very excited about that.
There's a case of, man, that art, I could, like, whew, that book was, I'm glad I finished it. It's a really good story. I love Sweet Tooth, but that artwork by Lemire, my goodness.
Well, good. Then they'll do a live action, and you'll be okay.
Did Allison Mack get sentenced?
I don't know if I think she did for her sex cult stuff.
When I see Allison
Oh,
Mack, I always
yeah.
think of Buffy
Alan
Willow.
Mack. Oh.
No, Buffy Willow. What's her name? Thought her name was Allison something.
Allison Hannigan.
Hannigan.
Hannigan, that's it.
The Secret Life of Alex Mack is what I was
That's what
thinking.
I was thinking.
I was like, are you sure that's not what you're talking about?
Transformers had a great plot the same way that Megan Fox is a great actress. I don't know. I haven't seen the host. Oh, what if that... Not the host, I'm sorry. Jennifer's Body. I thought your lights went out, Amanda. I'm like, oh,
No,
your shit is haunted for real. Your shit's haunted for real.
No, it's Bad Kid.
Dude, I almost met Allison Mack when we were doing a VIP thing at the Wizard Con in Philadelphia. But I didn't care about Smallville, so I went to go and talk to comic book creators.
Sex cult. You missed an opportunity. I cannot believe.
I could have been an early investor.
Is that what you would have been?
Luther's not in jail. Chloe's in jail. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Luther's just.
When
has
she
a
gets
really
out,
long
who should
podcast.
Allison
No
Mack
way.
play in the MCU?
No.
Where she goes into wrestling, man, like she bulks up, like she's been in prison for like a few years. She bulks up and she gets into wrestling. It's her,
It's how she recovers from her strange. I mean, it's not like she had an addiction or something. She just got into a bad business.
I don't know. I can't even speak about because I don't know anything about the details or anything. I don't know.
No, I read a lot about it, but I don't know.
Next month is Netflix Transformers animated show at debut. Did any of you see Stargirl? Because I'm really excited to see Stargirl.
I'm gonna watch it after this.
Because it came out today on DC Universe or yesterday.
Yesterday on DC Universe, but today you can watch it on the CW app.
Then that on the app today.
Yeah.
Oh, let me check on it.
Oh, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green split up after 10 years. Did you say that? Okay.
I did.
I just got a text message from Amanda telling me that they split up. We're in the middle of a show. Am I a Richard Corbin horror fan? I am. Yes, sir. MCU is fun stuff, but I got more invested with Wolverine and Deadpool. Have they confirmed Deadpool yet, or is that still up in the air? Ryan Reynolds is not getting younger, guys. He's gonna a couple years, and he's gonna be like, I'm gonna do Broadway shows and eat what I want. I'm done with getting fit.
I hope we get another one. I really like them.
Me too.
Yeah, they're fun. Just finished Stargirl. It was good. The actress playing Allison Hargraves on Umbrella Academy is my final.
That comes out in July.
That's the sister. That's the
Yeah.
sister. Yeah, she could do it. I can see that.
I like her.
Keanu Reeves is Ghost Rider, please. Keanu Reeves is Johnny Blaze. Actually, I see that.
I can see that too. Why not?
Jack Pierre, I'm gonna tell you for the last time. Magic Knight Ray Earth is not the best rapper. Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly. I know what you mean. Deadpool 3 is probably dead. Who knows?
I don't know.
They be throwing away money not doing it.
Disney's not stupid.
What's up, Bug? How's my buddy doing? All right, go ahead. Sorry. Just shout out to a friend of mine.
Just because, I like Keanu Reeves' Moon Knight. Actually, that's a
that could work.
That was really good. Yeah, I like that. A lot. I love Moon Knight, so that would be really cool.
I kind of dig that. I like that.
Now, will it ever happen? I don't know. Are they going to put him in there? Who knows?
Keanu Reeves is Reed. I don't know.
We all know who Reed Richards is.
John Krasinski.
We don't have to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm still not sold on that guy. I know you two.
John Krasinski.
You two love that guy. It's not a combo package, guys. Just because they get Emily Blunt doesn't mean I'm not doing it if my husband can't be Mr. Fantastic.
Together well. I'm just saying. If they already proved they can act together in The Quiet Place, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can do it, though.
Yes, he can.
That means that
all right. Andrew Garfield would kill it as Mr. Fantastic. That's how they will redeem themselves.
That'd be insane.
He said Moon Knight, but I'm thinking Mr. Fantastic, Andrew Garfield.
No, he doesn't. No.
Hey, Omar, remember when you thought Tom Brady was Tom Hardy? Yeah, and Linda Blair was Linda Carter. Remember that? Like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, I do.
Omar, what a silly goof. Krasinski is the Office Reed. Wrong. False. That's Dwight. Dwight is the Office Reed Richards. Keanu Reeves is Daredevil. What happened to Charlie Cox? Is Charlie Cox still...
They haven't said anything. I don't know. It's all up in the air. I mean, they let them all out of their contracts, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well, and I heard Jeff Loeb is going to start writing some comics again. He was the one that was in charge of the television stuff. So
it's a shame because I would have loved to see him on screen defending.
Oh shit, dude! I kind of dig that. Well, Jason Isaacs for sure as Magneto. I really dig that.
I was thinking he ended up getting cast in Star Wars with a live-action Thrawn, but
he's just got this like his face,
way
right?
About him.
Yeah. Ever since what was it, The Patriot? Where he's just ruthless.
You always play a good bad guy. He's
excellent. But Magneto has like a sympathetic way to him that I don't know if Isaacs could pull off. Like there's a niceness about Magneto. Snooty. Yeah. Was that the word I was looking for? I don't know.
Yeah, snooty. He does come across kind of.
Carl, what's happening, Michael? What are we drinking? Carl Urban is Sue Storm. Keanu Reeves is Wonder Woman. Oh, now these guys are just being
they're just being weird.
If Charlie Cox doesn't come back, we set fire to Joe Quesada's house. I love that we're burning down the house of somebody that has nothing to do with that.
Me and my cousin watched Stardust this past weekend, and I just remembered, God, Charlie Cox, I miss him because he's the main character.
He was good.
He was so good at that. He's so good. So I started watching Daredevil again, and I was like, oh, God, man, this would be really nice.
John V says, I hate to say it, but the X-Men franchise needs a break for a few years.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, they just...
It's happening whether we wanted to or not, brother, because we ain't getting no new movies. New mutants might come out. I
think just throw in the garbage, do a full reboot. Let's pull a Spider-Man, just like pretend like nothing happened.
I haven't seen Discovery, so maybe Jason Isaacs could do it. I could see him as Magneto. He's got that face. He could do it. How do we feel about Ruby leaving Batwoman? I never watched the show, so I don't really have a say.
I don't have a say.
I liked her and I thought she was fine as Batgirl, but I really like Ruby, but I still never felt a real strong connection to her and her Batwoman. I don't think it was bad. Just for me, I didn't feel that personal connection. I think even though I was really excited for her to have the role, and I definitely posted and shared about it, she still wasn't who I was envisioning.
Yeah.
Omar, you got to watch Star Trek Discovery. They have planned 50 spin-offs, and they all sound incredible. I don't know if I can dive into something, man. I got to read.
That's true, you do.
X-Men, Days of Future Past, and Logan were good endpoints for the movie franchise. Let it sit for a while.
Let's just let it sit.
I'm okay with waiting, honestly.
So many characters now at their disposal. They don't need to keep bringing back the same ones. They could really start to go crazy. They already did it by bringing Guardians in. They know they could do it.
I think people are excited because, holy shit, now they're in one roof, right?
Yeah.
It's like we get to play with all these characters, and that's why people are excited. Of course, they want to see their favorite characters from the comic books,
because they haven't been happy with the other ones. Yeah.
Go at it with the Avengers or hang out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But
at this point, let's be real. I mean, but by the time development happens, production happens, and then release, we're gonna see Guardians of the Galaxy. Those characters moved on. Our original Avengers moved on. So it's gonna be a whole new. We have to start thinking a whole new cast of people. I mean, Guardians 3 will come out in a couple of years, and I don't see Thor after Thor 4. I don't see Chris Hemsworth sticking around. So that's
why we got new Avengers.
We just need
or they're gonna have to
or young Avengers, and I get Iron Lad.
Or they'll have to recast, right?
Or they'll have to recast. Which
Nocturne. We haven't seen you in a while. What's up, man?
Hey.
Nocturne told the best how he found our channel story I've ever heard. It was you, Nocturne, that was talking about trying to find recipes for pickles. And it led him.
How it would lead
to because our first episode is not that kind of pickle.
Oh.
That's right.
He was for some reason he stayed and watched, which is the best story about how somebody found us.
Yes. I miss. Somebody asked about him, so I thought I'd bring him up. Oh no.
This is a really good thought, because this happens, right? Chris might he's having some trouble, I feel, outside of the Marvel movies. It's what happens when a lot of these actors, a lot of these actresses, unfortunately, when they stick to a role, this is what happens, and they become typecast, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Chris, are we talking about
Hemsworth?
Oh, I don't. From what I can tell, all of those guys are doing just fine outside of this.
Yeah, I mean, he has Extraction. If he starts sticking to more action-oriented movies, I think Chris Hemsworth will be fine. Plus, he's starting to build a little mini empire for himself as an influencer with his fitness app and whatnot. So I think he will be okay. At some point, he's going to have to break from the Thor, regardless of what else movie roles he's getting. He's still getting movie roles. That's not even a question of that.
Luckily, all of these big names in the MCU already had careers outside of this just fine. So I'm not worried about any of them.
Well, I think a lot of their careers got propelled by the movies, though. Like Chris Hemsworth was not really anywhere.
No,
he was
that was just that Star Trek.
He was the dad in Star Trek, I think.
For 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I guess I can kind of see what he's saying, because a lot of times, these people hire these actors and actresses to pull people to go see these movies, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Well,
Cabin in the
because
Woods.
No matter how good, no
That's
matter
no
what kind of actor you have now, it's not our industry is no longer driven by the actors' names anymore. We are looking at plot now. We are looking at good movies, and yeah, he's been in that Black Hat movie about the hackers, and he's not really a hacker type. That was okay. Men in Black International was not a good film, and they tried to put him and Tessa Thompson together, thinking, well, they had great chemistry in Thor, but when you don't have the same material, it doesn't work the same. That was not Taika Waititi. That was reused, hashed out jokes from the original Men in Blacks that worked when Will Smith was in it, and that's only when that worked. So, like, it's not necessarily his fault. Those movies are still gonna make.
Is that his younger brother?
And Chris Evans is still just killing it.
Yes, I mean he
has a lot more range.
He has a lot more range, and he focuses more on the indie stuff. And now that Defending Jacob show, which I think is pretty good, and it's really good on his part to do that Apple series. So now,
I don't know what that is.
God, I hope he does something outside of Doolittle, because that was not good. Doolittle was a horrible way to start right after he finishes off his iconic character, and then the next movie he puts out is Doolittle. That does not look good on your part, RDJ. Maybe you should just
He's got enough money. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants, but God. Doolittle?
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw this one. Heart of the Sea with Chris Hemsworth. I never saw it.
I own it because Tom Holland's in it too. He plays he's a little boy that they follow his story. He's telling it like as an older man.
You can't even joke. We're in the wrong part of America for that. My homie lives here and nobody likes him. He's rude.
Not anymore. His wife lived there. She's the one that liked horses, so he's gone, yeah.
He left? Okay.
Yeah. You know, the thing about Shatner, and this is something that I thought is pretty interesting about him, is that he can actually act. It's just that he's got this name for himself for doing that thing that Shatner does. And now everybody mimics him. Like, apparently when he was... well, if you go back and look at episodes of The Twilight Zone, it's not in a Shatner way. So you know that the guy could act at one time, and then for some reason he decided to start doing this. I think it was a play or reviews of a play.
Yeah.
I know there's an origin story there. I'm sure somebody here knows that got him to start acting that way.
Uh-oh.
Hear me out, Mark Hamill as
I'm not opposed to that. Mark Hamill's a good actor, and yeah.
Did anyone say Jessica Biel in any superheroine? If she gets back in Blade Trinity shape, she's perfect. What has she done? I haven't seen her in anything.
It's mostly just Justin Timberlake's wife.
I've seen like an HBO
That's
show.
not a role.
I know. But no, she was in it's not Lie to Me. She was in a show that's on Hulu or Showtime or was on Showtime.
Yeah. I saw the previews. I haven't seen it. Like the Widows. No, Jessica. That was somebody else. Never mind. I got my Jessicas mixed up.
Yes. So she has been in something.
She was in BoJack on the Unbelievable.
Unbelievable?
I don't know what that is. Seventh Heaven?
She was in
that was a long time ago.
We're going to have to wrap this up soon if I'm going to watch Stargirl tonight.
So, everybody, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll let these ladies sign us off because I forget to let them do that.
Check us out next week. We will be back talking about Annihilation. Yeah. That's the big pick of the month, the first book that got me into Marvel Comics, my first Marvel comic I ever read. So I'm super excited to read that again. So same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on Near Mint Condition. If you're catching us later, comment down below and tell us what you thought about Identity Crisis. I'm sure that probably have some same thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, hit that notification button if you want to hear about when we have videos coming out. If you want to vote for a pick of the month for us to read an old reader, new reader, you can do that by joining our Patreon, which is also a great way to support us. Helps us get books or equipment and whatever. And we have Redbubble and stuff. So see you next week.
Bye, guys. And Jack, I'll send you that monkey bread recipe.
Monkey bread, that's it. So everybody go read that Annihilation Omnibus you got sitting on the shelf.